this motel also has, as an adjunct, an old house, which is, if I may say so, a little more sinister looking, less innocent than the motel itself. And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place. I think we can go inside because the place is up for sale, although I don't know who's going to buy it now. In that window on the second floor, the single one in front, that's where the woman was first seen. Let's go inside. You see, even in daylight, this place still looks a bit sinister. Now, it was at the top of these stairs that the second murder took place. She came out of the door there and met the victim at the top. Of course, in a flash, there was the knife, and in no time, the victim tumbled and fell with a horrible crash. I think the back broke immediately and hit the floor. It's difficult to describe the way that the twisting of the, but I won't dwell upon it. Come upstairs. Of course, the victim, or should I say victims, hadn't any conception as to the type of people they would be confronted with in this house, especially the woman. She was the weirdest and the most... Well, let's go into her bedroom. Here's the woman's room, still beautifully preserved. And the imprint of her figure on the bed where she used to lay. I think some of her clothes are still in this wardrobe. Bathroom. This was the son's room, but we won't go in there because his favorite spot was the little parlor behind his office in the motel.
Wow. I'll be darned. I'm feeling a whole lot better, I can tell you that. I'll feel better when we find Dad. I don't see his car.
Okay, there's a lot of glare in the glass and the plexiglass in these posters. I'll try to show them to you up close, but I didn't have any other place to set this up, and it's so shiny. Anyway, over here on the far left, that is a print of an oil painting of the Psycho House. Not bad. I fell in love with that right away. And then here, if you can even see it, is a beautiful print of the Psycho House. It's a movie ad. See that? You saw this earlier in the video. And then here in the middle, that's an advertisement for the Bates Motel. $6.50 a night or 2 people for $10. And there's a map on how to get there. Here is my Psycho movie poster, very famous. And then here, equally as famous, this still image from the movie. So that's it. That's my Psycho gallery. Well, hello there. My name is Michael James Fry, and I'm your host. Well, not really a host, I guess. I'm not hosting anything except this particular moment. I'm the guy who put the video together. Okay, and these are my Psycho posters and pictures. And let me tell you something. It just goes, if you want to collect Psycho posters and pictures, it just goes on and on and on and on. Just like when I was researching and finding all the models of the Psycho House, it just goes on and on and on. And The same thing with the video clips from the movie. They're all over the internet. You can put more and more and more in there, and paintings and drawings, and you know, if you go looking around, you can buy memorabilia. They sell keychains to room number 1 at Bates Motel, and just all kinds of knickknacks and psycho this and psycho that, and again, it goes on and on and on and on. So when it comes to making this video, just a taste, just an idea to give you a look, a glimpse into all the different forms of drawings and watercolors and paintings and artwork and computer graphics, movie posters, all the stuff contained in this video. You got to cut it off somewhere, or else it's just going to be ridiculously too long. Maybe this program was already too long. But I did want to pause here long enough and just talk to you about the movie Psycho, and at least share with you why I'm so attracted to it. And I would begin by saying, this is 1960. It was a very different world back then, and I'm attracted to the impact that this film made on cinematic history and the American film industry in particular, in Hollywood. It resonated with people on various different levels. It's black and white, which I personally have an attraction towards black and white films. And then on top of that, it was a mystery film, a horror movie. It was a romance. It was a detective story, a crime drama. I think that's what lent itself to having such mass appeal, because really, in a sense, there was something in it for everybody. There was the suggestion of sex, and then romance, and terror, and this unknown. We don't find out until the end of the movie, spoiler alert, we don't find out until the end of the movie that we're dealing with the schizophrenic, and back then, you know, modern psychological medicine knew very little about schizophrenia, far less than what we know today. And so back then, we were dealing with a truly new frontier when it came to the notion that somebody could be two people housed in one brain, and it scared people. It just plain made people uneasy. And the other thing about the movie is that it's Alfred Hitchcock, one of my top favorite directors of all time. I really, really love Alfred Hitchcock. And then the soundtrack with Bernard Herrmann. Oh my, what a masterpiece the soundtrack is. Let me tell you, there's a recording out there that was made in a theater in 1975, and it's titled The Psycho Suite. And you can buy it on Amazon or eBay. I think I got mine off of eBay. And what it is the music of Psycho, the way the composer Bernard Herrmann had intended it to be. With the point being that when you watch the movie Psycho, they modified it here and there and made some changes that differentiated from what he actually wrote originally. And you know, that's what you do in Hollywood. My background's in show business. I've done some movies and films and television, stage work, off-Broadway, and that's what happens in show business. You know, I've always been fascinated with how one form of art generates another form of art, or it generates a sequel or a continuation thereupon. And you know, that's kind of what happened here with the music in Psycho, because he wrote what he wrote and then it was modified for the picture. So when you go back to this recording that was done in a theater, it's the original music, if you will, before it was altered for the film. And you can get it on Amazon or on eBay, and it's called The Psycho Suite. And I highly recommend it, because this is very much, remember when the movie Jaws came out? Let's see, this was 15 years later, Jaws came out. And people were commenting about the music in Jaws. and in particular about how the music itself, the soundtrack to the film, was one of the leading characters, if you will, in the movie. And when you go back to Psycho, it's the same thing. The soundtrack, the music to Psycho was one of the leading characters who helped tell the story that Alfred Hitchcock made his film about, based on the book by Robert Bloch. But the point is the soundtrack, it wouldn't be the same. In fact, I think, if I remember this correctly, Alfred Hitchcock and Bernard Herrmann were in agreement that Alfred Hitchcock produced 2/3 of every film they worked on together, and the other third was Bernard Herrmann's soundtrack, because they worked on multiple movies together. And I just find it fascinating for all those various reasons. And lastly, I would just say the legacy. Everybody knows, everybody has seen, apparently, everybody knows about the Psycho House, everybody's seen the Psycho House. The Amityville Horror House may be the most famous haunted house, but perhaps, and this is just throwing it out there, but perhaps the Psycho House is the most famous house in Hollywood. Because it just, as you see in this video, it has such a presence about it. It's very simple. It was built from other models of houses and thrown together. There wasn't a large budget to shoot Psycho. In fact, it was a TV crew who shot it, not a movie crew. And everything was toned down. When it came to Bernard Herrmann's soundtrack, they didn't have the budget for brass and woodwinds and percussion. So it's noteworthy and remarkable that whenever you're listening to the music of Psycho, it's all strings. You don't have anything else other than strings, which again to me makes it all the more compelling. And I read a commentary about the soundtrack which said it was an intense listen, and it is. It's intense, it's moody, it's eerie, it's thought-provocative, and just the right touch for Alfred Hitchcock's movie. So it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it for all the reasons that I just mentioned. And lastly, I just want to share with you that back in 1978, when I was 14 years old, we took a family vacation to see the sights in America, or a lot of the sights. I'm broadcasting this from Ohio, and we went out to Hollywood and back with seeing a bunch of different sights on the way. And one of the places that we went to was Universal Studios. And this was 1978. When I did my research putting this video together, this documentary, I came to realize that the Psycho House, the original Psycho House, stood on its initial location until December of 1980. And then it was moved elsewhere on the Universal lot. I think that's right. If anybody knows for sure, just drop it in the comments below, okay? But anyway, I got to see the original Psycho House with my own eyes back in 1978. Now, there was a lot to see at Universal Studios. I'm a big Jaws fan. I love the soundtrack to Jaws, and I love the movie Jaws. And I was 14. I had shark posters on my wall when I was a young teenager. And the movie really struck a chord with me like it did so many others. And the Jaws ride was broken that day, and I saw the orca ship, one of the 3 orcas. And we took the earthquake ride and saw all the different things that you can do at Universal Studios. But I'm telling you, the highlight for me was seeing the Psycho House. It has a presence about it that is unmistakable. It's just powerful. It's powerful when you look at it. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that just magnetic? Just completely magnetic to see? There's something about this. It's just the ultimate eeriness. There's such a presence about this house. So, Before we wrap things up, I just want to drink a toast to the movie Psycho, to the cast, to the crew, to Robert Bloch, who wrote the original book, to Alfred Hitchcock, to Bernard Herrmann, to everyone who loves this movie, all the fans, all the books that have been written about it, to everyone who did all the artwork, the models of the house. That was something else that just went on and on and on. People love this house. Like I said, Amityville might be the most famous haunted house, but perhaps Psycho is the most famous house in Hollywood. At least I like to think so. Anyway, so let's have a drink. Now, I just want to say, I quit drinking alcohol. I became sober. I quit drinking alcohol. I had years sober. I quit drinking alcohol. I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit getting high. I quit doing drugs. I quit eating meat. Maybe I'm a boring guy, but anyway, this is lemon lime seltzer water. It's called Waterloo, and it's my favorite, and we'll just crack that open right now and say a toast. Cheers. Everyone, I'm actually sitting here alone right now, but I'm just kind of saying everyone for everybody who's watching. You know what I mean? So anyway, everyone, to everyone here, everyone watching, to you at home, cheers, a drink to Psycho. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. I guess that's it for now. You know, I am alone here. I'm in a church basement alone at night. That's where I am right now. You hear how quiet it is? Anyway, maybe I better just go ahead and wrap this up and get back home. You never can tell who might be in the neighborhood. It's a dangerous world. Did you hear that? I just heard a sound. You gotta be very careful because you just never know!
Sad when a mother has to speak the words that condemn her own son, but I couldn't allow them to believe that I would commit murder. They'll put him away now, as I should have years ago. He was always bad, and in the end he intended to tell them I killed those girls and that man, as if I could do anything except just sit and stare, like one of his stuffed birds. Well, they know I can't even move a finger, and I won't. I'll just sit here and be quiet, just in case they do suspect me. They're probably watching me. Well, let them. Let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see, and they'll know, and they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.